The grand conclave chamber of the Xylar Imperium hummed with a suppressed energy, a palpable tension that vibrated through the very crystalline structures of the hall. Light refracted in 1,000 different hues from the vaulted ceiling, casting an ethereal glow on the assembled Xylar lords, their multifaceted eyes reflecting both the light and the gravity of the situation. A low thrum resonated from the central dais, where the holographic projection of the galactic sensor array pulsed with insistent warnings. For cycles, the Xylar, a species known for their calculated logic and meticulous planning, had observed humanity's ascent with a mixture of curiosity and growing unease. Their initial assessments had been dismissive, a young, volatile species confined to a single star system, technologically inferior and plagued by internal conflict. Yet recent events had challenged these comfortable assumptions, forcing the Imperium to reevaluate its stance. The source of their anxiety was the sudden, inexplicable surge in human technological advancement, capped by the emergence of a vessel unlike anything they had ever encountered, a warship of immense proportions, radiating an aura of raw power that defied their understanding. Lord Valerius, his crystalline carapace gleaming under the chamber lights, shifted his gaze from the unsettling projection to the faces of his peers. Doubt and fear were etched onto their usually impassive features. "The readings are confirmed," he stated, his voice resonating with a barely concealed tremor. "The vessel, the dreadnought as the humans designate it, is of a scale previously deemed theoretically impossible. Its energy signature dwarfs that of our entire battle fleet stationed at the Corvus Gate." Silence descended upon the chamber, broken only by the rhythmic pulsing of the holographic display. The image of the human dreadnought dominated the space, its stark, angular design a brutal contrast to the elegant, organic forms favored by the Xylar. It was a symbol of humanity's aggressive, almost reckless ambition, a monument to their disregard for established norms. Lord Lyra, a renowned strategist and one of the more vocal skeptics of humanity, spoke next, her voice sharp and laced with suspicion. "Surely there must be an explanation. A sensor malfunction, perhaps? It is inconceivable that a species so young could achieve such a leap in technology. Their homeworld remains primitive. Their understanding of subspace physics is rudimentary at best." Several heads turned in agreement, a collective desire to cling to the familiar, the reassuring. But Valerius shook his head, his expression grim. "The readings have been verified by multiple independent systems. There is no error. Furthermore, our observers report a coordinated surge in human industrial capacity, a mobilization of resources on a scale that suggests preparation. Preparation for something significant." The thought hung in the air, unspoken but understood by all. Preparation for war. Against whom? The Xylar Imperium, the undisputed masters of this sector of the galaxy, the arbiters of countless civilizations. It seemed absurd. And yet the dreadnought loomed, a silent challenge to their authority, a blatant display of defiance. The Xylar prided themselves on their ability to anticipate and control events, to weave intricate webs of diplomacy and strategic maneuvering. But humanity had disrupted their carefully laid plans, throwing their calculations into chaos. Their unpredictability was their most dangerous weapon. Lord Vorlag, the ancient and revered leader of the conclave, finally broke the silence. His voice, though weak with age, commanded the attention of all present. "We must proceed with caution," he rasped, his multifaceted eyes narrowing. "Open aggression is not an option, not yet. We do not fully understand their capabilities, their motivations. Contact must be established. Diplomatic overtures, carefully worded, designed to gauge their intentions without revealing our concern." A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. Diplomacy was the Xylar's preferred instrument of power, a subtle art honed over millennia. But even Vorlag recognized the limitations of diplomacy in the face of such an unknown quantity. He knew that beneath the veneer of polite exchange, a shadow war of intelligence and counterintelligence would be waged, a desperate attempt to unravel the enigma of humanity. Far beyond the borders of the Xylar Imperium, within the vast, unexplored expanse of the galactic rim, the human dreadnought, the hope of Earth, drifted silently through the void. Its massive form, kilometers in length, was a testament to human ingenuity and resolve, a symbol of their defiance against the odds. Inside the command center, Captain Eva Rostova stood before the panoramic viewport, her gaze fixed on the swirling nebulae that painted the starscape. Her face was etched with a quiet determination, a calm that belied the immense pressure she carried on her shoulders. Around her, the crew of the Hope of Earth worked with focused efficiency, their movements precise and coordinated. Years of training and preparation had led them to this moment. They were the vanguard of humanity's expansion, the shield against the unknown. "Captain, we are receiving a coded transmission," reported Lieutenant Commander Giant, his fingers flying across the console. "Origin, Xylar Imperium. The signal is weak but consistent. They are attempting to establish contact." Rostova nodded slowly, her eyes still fixed on the stars. "Patch it through, Commander. Let us hear what they have to say." The holographic display flickered, and a stately alien face appeared, its multifaceted eyes radiating an air of cool authority. It was Lord Valerius, the Xylar emissary. "Greetings, humans," he began, his voice carefully modulated. "I am Lord Valerius of the Xylar Imperium. We have observed your vessel's presence in our sector and extend a formal invitation to engage in diplomatic discourse. We seek to understand your purpose, your intentions." Rostova turned to face the alien emissary, her expression unreadable. She had anticipated this moment. The Xylar, with their rigid protocols and their insatiable desire for control, were predictable in their response. But humanity was not. "Greetings, Lord Valerius," she replied, her voice calm and measured. "I am Captain Eva Rostova, commanding officer of the Hope of Earth. We acknowledge your invitation and are willing to engage in diplomatic discourse. Our intentions are peaceful. We seek to explore, to learn, to understand the universe and our place within it." The words were carefully chosen, designed to convey a sense of openness and cooperation. But beneath the surface, a deeper message was hidden, a subtle declaration of independence. Humanity was not seeking permission, nor were they seeking conquest. They were forging their own path, regardless of the Xylar's opinion. The exchange continued, a carefully choreographed dance of diplomacy. Valerius probed, seeking to uncover humanity's weaknesses, their vulnerabilities. Rostova parried, revealing only what she deemed necessary, concealing the true extent of their capabilities, their ambitions. The tension in the conclave chamber remained high. Each word, each gesture was scrutinized, analyzed for hidden meanings, subtle deceptions. The Xylar were accustomed to controlling the narrative, to shaping the perceptions of other species. But humanity proved to be a frustratingly resistant subject. Their actions defied easy categorization, their motivations remained shrouded in mystery. Days turned into weeks and the diplomatic dance continued. Rostova agreed to a meeting, a face-to-face exchange with Valerius on a neutral space station orbiting a distant binary star system. The Xylar saw this as a victory, a sign that humanity was willing to submit to their protocols. But Rostova had her own agenda. The meeting was not about appeasement, but about observation, about gathering intelligence, about understanding the Xylar and their motivations. As the Hope of Earth approached the designated rendezvous point, Rostova prepared for the meeting. She studied the Xylar's history, their culture, their political structure. She immersed herself in their language, their customs. She knew that to understand them, she had to think like them, to anticipate their moves. She chose her delegation carefully, selecting individuals who possessed not only technical expertise but also cultural sensitivity and diplomatic skill. Dr. Aris Thorne, a brilliant xenolinguist, whose empathy allowed him to bridge communication gaps even the most sophisticated translator programs could not. Commander Giant, whose sharp tactical mind could assess a threat with uncanny accuracy. And Lieutenant Maya Singh, a skilled diplomat with an uncanny ability to read people, to discern their true intentions. The space station was a sprawling, artificial construct, a testament to the Xylar's engineering prowess. It served as a hub for trade and diplomacy, a neutral ground where species from across the galaxy could meet and interact. Rostova's shuttle docked smoothly with the station, and she and her delegation were greeted by a formal Xylar honor guard. The air was thick with anticipation, with a palpable sense of unease. Rostova maintained her composure, her face a mask of polite neutrality. She followed the Xylar guards through the station's labyrinthine corridors, her senses on high alert. She noted the security measures, the surveillance systems, the subtle signs of Xylar dominance. Valerius awaited her in a grand reception hall, his crystalline carapace gleaming under the artificial lights. He greeted her with a formal bow, his multifaceted eyes scrutinizing her every move. "Captain Rostova," he said, his voice cool and measured, "welcome to our station. We trust that your journey was satisfactory." Rostova returned the bow. "Lord Valerius," she replied. "The journey was uneventful. Thank you for your hospitality." The formalities completed, they proceeded to a private meeting room where the real negotiations would begin. The room was sparsely furnished, dominated by a large holographic display and a circular table. The atmosphere was tense, charged with unspoken questions, hidden agendas. Valerius began with the standard diplomatic platitudes, expressing his admiration for humanity's achievements, his desire for peaceful cooperation. But Rostova knew that these were just words, a smokescreen to conceal his true intentions. He was trying to gauge her reaction to test her resolve. She listened patiently, allowing him to speak, gathering information. When he finally paused, she responded with a carefully worded statement, reiterating humanity's peaceful intentions, their desire for exploration and discovery. "We seek to understand the galaxy, Lord Valerius," she said, her voice calm and measured. "We do not seek to conquer it." Valerius's multifaceted eyes narrowed slightly. He did not believe her. He sensed a hidden agenda, a deeper purpose, but he could not decipher it. Humanity remained an enigma, a puzzle that defied his logical mind. He shifted his tactics, probing her with more direct questions. "Your dreadnought," he said, his voice carefully neutral. "Its capabilities are impressive, but its purpose remains unclear. Is it a vessel of exploration or a weapon of war?" Rostova met his gaze unflinchingly. "It is both, Lord Valerius," she replied. "It is a symbol of humanity's potential, a tool for both discovery and defense. We hope that it will never be used for war, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves if threatened." The tension in the room thickened. The unspoken threat hung in the air, a reminder of the potential for conflict. Valerius realized that he was not making progress. Rostova was a formidable opponent, her composure unshakable, her answers carefully crafted. He decided to change his approach, to appeal to her sense of reason, her sense of responsibility. "Captain Rostova," he said, his voice taking on a more earnest tone, "we are both representatives of powerful civilizations. We have a responsibility to maintain peace, to ensure the stability of the galaxy. Your actions, your rapid technological advancement, it is destabilizing. It is creating uncertainty. We simply seek reassurance that you will act responsibly, that you will not disrupt the established order." Rostova paused, considering his words. She knew that he was trying to manipulate her to exploit her sense of duty. But she also recognized the validity of his concerns. Humanity was a young species, prone to impulsiveness, to aggression. They had made mistakes in the past. She could not deny that. "Lord Valerius," she said, her voice sincere, "I understand your concerns, and I assure you that we are aware of our responsibilities. We do not seek to disrupt the established order. But we will not be confined by it. We believe that humanity has a right to explore, to expand, to reach for the stars. We will do so peacefully, responsibly. But we will not be held back by fear, by prejudice, by the limitations of others." The exchange continued for several hours, a complex and nuanced negotiation. Rostova and Valerius circled each other warily, probing, testing, seeking to understand the other's motivations. They reached no concrete agreements, no definitive resolutions, but they established a line of communication, a framework for future dialogue, and they gained a deeper understanding of each other, a grudging respect for the other's strengths. As Rostova prepared to depart, Valerius offered her a final word of caution. "Captain Rostova," he said, his voice grave, "the galaxy is a dangerous place. There are forces at work that you cannot imagine, forces that would seek to destroy you, to consume you. Be careful. Do not underestimate the darkness that lies beyond the stars." Rostova nodded slowly, her expression thoughtful. "Thank you for your warning, Lord Valerius," she replied. "We will heed it, but we will not be deterred. We will face the darkness, whatever it may be, and we will not be afraid." She returned to the Hope of Earth, carrying with her a wealth of information, a deeper understanding of the Xylar, and a renewed sense of purpose. The diplomatic mission had been a success, but the true challenges lay ahead. As the Hope of Earth warped away from the space station, Rostova gathered her senior officers in the command center. "We have much work to do," she said, her voice firm. "The Xylar are wary of us. They do not trust us, but they also fear us. We must use that fear to our advantage. We must continue to demonstrate our strength, our resolve, but we must also demonstrate our commitment to peace, to cooperation. We must show them that humanity is not a threat, but an ally, a force for good in the galaxy." Meanwhile, within the Xylar Imperium, Valerius convened a private meeting with Vorlag and Lyra. His report was grim. "Humanity is not what we expected," he admitted, his voice heavy with concern. "They are far more advanced than our initial assessments indicated. Their technology is innovative, their strategies are unpredictable, and their resolve is unwavering. They are not seeking conquest, but they are not afraid to challenge the established order. They are a wild card, a force that could either strengthen the galaxy or tear it apart." Lyra scoffed. "They are still a young species," she said, her voice dismissive. They lack the experience, the discipline to wield such power responsibly. We must contain them, control them, before they become a true threat. Vorlag remained silent, his multifaceted eyes fixed on the holographic projection of the Hope of Earth. He sensed something deeper, something more profound than mere ambition or technological prowess. He saw a spark of hope, a potential for greatness that the Xyler had long lost. But he also saw a potential for destruction, a capacity for violence that could consume them all. "We must consider all options," he said, his voice slow and deliberate. "Containment is certainly a possibility, but it is not the only one. Perhaps we can find a way to guide them, to help them realize their potential, to channel their energy for the good of the galaxy." The suggestion was met with stunned silence. The idea of cooperating with humanity, of entrusting them with a share of power, was unthinkable to many Xyler. But Vorlag was a visionary, a leader who was willing to challenge conventional wisdom. He saw that humanity was not simply a threat, but an opportunity to break free from the stagnation that had gripped the Xyler Imperium for centuries, an opportunity to forge a new path, a new future for the galaxy. Unbeknownst to both the Xyler and humanity, a far greater threat was looming on the horizon. Deep within the uncharted regions of the galaxy, an ancient and malevolent force was stirring, its presence masked by the chaotic energies of a vast stellar nursery. This force, known only as the Voidborn, was a remnant of a forgotten age, a cosmic plague that had consumed countless civilizations, leaving behind only barren worlds and shattered dreams. The Voidborn were drawn to sources of energy, to concentrations of life and technology. And the emergence of humanity, with their rapid technological advancements and their burgeoning civilization, had caught their attention. A faint, almost imperceptible signal, originating from the core of the stellar nursery, began to propagate through the galaxy, carrying with it a subtle distortion of spacetime. This signal was a beacon, a call to the Voidborn, summoning them to a new feeding ground. The signal was too weak to be detected by conventional sensors, but it resonated on a deeper level, affecting the subconscious minds of sentient beings, stirring feelings of unease, of dread. Rostova felt it, a subtle tremor in the force, a sense of impending doom. She dismissed it as stress, as the lingering effects of the diplomatic encounter with the Xyler. But the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing day. Meanwhile, on the Xyler homeworld, Vorlag experienced a similar sensation. He felt a growing sense of unease, a premonition of impending catastrophe. He consulted with the ancient seers, the keepers of the Xyler's collective consciousness. They confirmed his fears. A great darkness was approaching, a threat unlike anything they had ever faced. Vorlag knew that he had to act quickly. He reached out to Rostova, sending a coded message through the established diplomatic channels. "Captain Rostova," he wrote, "I have received a disturbing premonition. I believe that a great danger is approaching, a danger that threatens us all. I urge you to investigate, seek out the source of this unease, and be prepared to defend yourselves." Rostova received Vorlag's message with a mixture of skepticism and concern. She did not fully trust the Xyler, but she recognized the sincerity in Vorlag's words. She decided to heed his warning. She ordered the Hope of Earth to change course, diverting them to the uncharted regions of the galaxy, towards the source of the Voidborn signal. As they approached the stellar nursery, the sense of dread intensified. The crew of the Hope of Earth felt a growing unease, a primal fear that resonated deep within their souls. The sensors began to malfunction, displaying erratic readings. The comm systems crackled with static. Rostova ordered a full diagnostic of the ship's systems. The engineers reported no mechanical failures. The problem was something else, something beyond their understanding. As they ventured deeper into the stellar nursery, they encountered strange phenomena. Space was distorted, time seemed to flow erratically. They saw fleeting glimpses of impossible geometries, of alien structures that defied the laws of physics. And then they saw it, a vast, amorphous cloud of darkness drifting silently through the void. It was the Voidborn. Its presence exuded an aura of pure malice, a hunger that threatened to consume everything in its path. The crew of the Hope of Earth were frozen in terror. They had never encountered anything so evil. Rostova regained her composure. She knew that they were outmatched, outgunned, but she refused to surrender. She ordered the ship to prepare for battle. "We will not let this thing destroy us," she said, her voice resonating with defiance. "We will fight. We will defend humanity. We will not yield." The Hope of Earth unleashed its full arsenal, firing volleys of energy weapons at the Voidborn cloud. The attacks had little effect. The Voidborn absorbed the energy, growing larger, more menacing. The Voidborn retaliated, unleashing waves of dark energy that tore through the Hope of Earth's shields, causing widespread damage. The ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared. Crew members screamed in pain. Rostova knew that they were losing, but she refused to give up. She ordered the ship to activate its experimental weapon, the quantum disruptor. The quantum disruptor was a last resort, a weapon of unimaginable power that could potentially destroy the Voidborn. But it was also incredibly unstable, and its use could have catastrophic consequences. Rostova weighed the risks. The fate of humanity was at stake. She had no choice. "Activate the quantum disruptor," she ordered, her voice resolute. "Target the Voidborn." The quantum disruptor charged, drawing energy from the ship's core. The ship vibrated violently. The air crackled with energy. The crew braced for impact. The quantum disruptor fired, unleashing a beam of pure energy that struck the Voidborn cloud. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Voidborn cloud convulsed, its form distorting. A wave of energy rippled outwards, tearing through space and time. The stellar nursery erupted in a cataclysmic explosion. The Hope of Earth was caught in the blast, its shields failing, its hull buckling. Rostova and her crew were thrown against the walls, battered and bruised. They had done it. They had defeated the Voidborn. But at a terrible cost. The Hope of Earth was crippled, its systems failing. They were stranded in the uncharted regions of the galaxy with no hope of rescue. As the dust settled, Rostova surveyed the damage. The ship was a wreck. Many of her crew were dead or wounded, but they were alive. They had survived, and they had saved humanity. Rostova sent out a distress signal, hoping that someone somewhere would hear them, but she knew that the chances were slim. They were alone in the darkness. As the signal propagated through space, it was intercepted by a Xylar patrol ship. The Xylar captain, upon learning of the Hope of Earth's plight, immediately contacted Vorlag. Vorlag, without hesitation, ordered the Xylar fleet to change course to rescue the human vessel. He knew that this was a turning point, a moment of unity, of cooperation, a chance to forge a new future for the galaxy. The Xylar fleet arrived at the stellar nursery, rescuing the survivors of the Hope of Earth. Rostova and her crew were brought aboard the Xylar flagship, where they were greeted by Vorlag himself. "Captain Rostova," Vorlag said, his voice filled with admiration. "You have shown great courage, great resilience. You have saved us all. We are in your debt." Rostova was humbled by his words. She had never expected such generosity from the Xylar. "Lord Vorlag," she replied, "we did what we had to do. We defended humanity. We defended the galaxy." Vorlag smiled. "And in doing so," he said, "you have brought us together. You have shown us the true meaning of unity." Xylar and humanity formed an alliance, a partnership based on mutual respect and shared goals. They worked together to rebuild the Hope of Earth, to develop new technologies to defend against the Voidborn, and to explore the uncharted regions of the galaxy. The galaxy was forever changed. The threat of the Voidborn had united disparate civilizations, forging a new era of peace and cooperation. Humanity had proven its worth, its courage, its resilience. They had earned their place among the stars. But the story does not end there. As the alliance between the Xylar and humanity strengthened, they began to uncover more secrets about the Voidborn. They learned that the Voidborn were not simply mindless monsters, but were in fact the remnants of a highly advanced civilization that had been destroyed by a cosmic catastrophe. They learned that the Voidborn were not seeking to destroy, but to rebuild, to recreate their lost civilization. But their methods were twisted, corrupted by the darkness that had consumed them. The Alliance discovered a hidden message, a transmission from the Voidborn revealing their true intentions. They were not simply seeking to consume the galaxy, but to transform it, to reshape it in their own image, to create a new universe, a universe of darkness and despair. The Alliance knew that they had to stop them, but they also knew that they could not simply destroy them. They had to find a way to heal them, to restore their lost civilization. They embarked on a perilous journey to the Voidborn homeworld, a desolate and forgotten planet located at the edge of the galaxy. They discovered the ruins of the Voidborn civilization, a testament to their former glory. They found a way to access the Voidborn's collective consciousness, to communicate with them on a deeper level. They showed them the beauty of the galaxy, the potential for peace and cooperation. They offered them hope. And to their astonishment, the Voidborn responded. They saw the error of their ways. They realized that their quest for revenge was only perpetuating the cycle of violence. They agreed to abandon their plans to transform the galaxy. They chose to heal. They chose to rebuild. The Voidborn used their advanced technology to restore their homeworld, to create a new paradise. They invited other civilizations to join them, to build a new society based on peace and understanding. The galaxy was transformed. The threat of the Voidborn was averted, and a new era of hope began. The Xylar and humanity had saved the galaxy, and in doing so they had saved themselves. They had found their true purpose. They had become the guardians of the galaxy, the protectors of all life. The Galactic Empire stared in wonder at what humanity had become, a beacon of hope in the vast darkness of space. But even this was not the final twist. As the galaxy rejoiced in its newfound peace, a faint signal was detected, originating from beyond the known universe. A signal carrying a message of immense power, of unimaginable potential. A message from a civilization far older, far more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever encountered. The message spoke of a new frontier, a new dimension of existence. A dimension where the laws of physics were different, where the possibilities were endless. A dimension where the true potential of the universe could be realized. The message was an invitation to join a cosmic dance, to participate in the evolution of the universe itself. The Xylar and humanity, along with their allies, debated the message. Was it a trap? Was it a test? Was it a genuine offer? They did not know, but they knew that they could not ignore it. They had come too far, overcome too many challenges. They had to explore this new frontier to discover its secrets. They built a new fleet, a fleet unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. A fleet of ships designed to travel between dimensions to explore the unknown. They chose Rostova to lead the expedition, to guide them into the new dimension. As the fleet prepared to depart, Rostova stood before the panoramic viewport, her gaze fixed on the swirling vortex that led to the new dimension. She felt a sense of trepidation, but also a sense of excitement. She knew that they were embarking on a journey into the unknown, a journey that could change the fate of the galaxy, and perhaps the fate of the universe. She turned to her crew, her face filled with determination. "We have come to the edge of the known universe," she said, her voice resonating with hope. "And now we must step into the unknown, we must explore, we must discover, we must become the architects of our own destiny." The fleet entered the vortex, disappearing into the new dimension. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what they would find. Humanity had faced its fears, overcome its limitations, and embraced its potential. And now it was ready to face the ultimate challenge, the challenge of the unknown. The Galactic Empire, no longer staring in horror, watched with bated breath, filled with hope and anticipation for what humanity would discover, for the future they would help forge. For humanity had become something truly extraordinary, the hope of the galaxy and perhaps the hope of the universe itself. The journey had just begun.